How you guys doing today? All right, so like she said, my name is Sartain. I'm the president of Earth Rebirth. Most people know us. We've had a goal for several years to set up gardens at every school in Norman, but to pretext that, I want to tell you a little bit of how we got there. You know, my grandfather grew up with a single mother, 7 siblings in the backwoods Louisiana in a one-room shed. And they grew their food, they hunted, they fished, they cleaned their clothes in the same pond and river they swam in. And at 17 years old, he got a job in the oil and gas industry and spent the next 6.5 decades working the oil fields. But he's the same person who took me and my brother back to that land and made us promise to protect it with our lives. And so, you know, as I grew up, I made a personal promise to myself that I was going to do everything I could, no matter how hard I got, to help people reconnect with animals and nature in the way that would allow us to be sustainable. And as you get older, it became very clear that we all need to eat, we all need clean water, and we all use energy no matter what we do. And if we can do those things more responsibly, then we can protect the natural world that we all love. And so in 2012, Earth Rebirth set a goal to set up a garden at all 27 public schools in Norman and have those gardens do something economic. It might be feeding the cafeteria, it might be selling at the farmer's market, or just feeding the families that need it most in that school. And we thought that would take us 2 years to build those 27 gardens, and we're 7 years into that goal and about to finish the last one. So, thank you. And, you know, there's a lot of pride in us sticking to that goal, and there's dozens of examples I won't go into from students who've used that food that we knew there was no reason to give up, whether it was 2 years or 10 years. But one of the big things that we've also had to realize is that the situation in Oklahoma has only gotten more difficult. On the global level, it's only gotten more difficult. In Oklahoma, there's over 100 school districts that have moved to 4-day school weeks just because of budget cuts. There's 1 in 5 schools that are on 4-day school weeks now because they can't afford a 5th day of school. And there's some of those districts that 80 and 90% of the kids are in assisted lunch programs. On average, it's 50-60% of districts. And so my big question is, what do those kids do for a meal on that 5th day when they're not in school? Where are they getting fed when their parents have to be at work? And those are the districts that we want to help next. And so at the end of the day, as a kid, this is an easy thing to get passionate about. And as you get older, it's really easy to get pessimistic and depressed about where things are going because the problems only get tougher. But we have to work together, be inclusive, collaborative, and innovative with what we can do to solve the problems as a community. And so a couple things that I want to plug is just the idea that everybody here can do more. Get involved. I know Sierra Club has a petition right now for building efficiency codes. There are simple ways just to put demand on change. And that's the one thing you have to do, whether it's helping at a school garden, showing up on Fridays to support the millions of young activists right now that are fighting for their future. But there is a lot of potential in the idea that we know we can do better. And we just have to hold ourselves more accountable to that idea. And so one of the things I want to say on an optimistic note is Norman is a groundbreaking place right now for change in Oklahoma. We are the first city in Oklahoma to commit to 100% renewable energy by a certain date. Thank you. And I think we need to all make sure that we're now pushing for the hard part is what do we want that to look like? What do we want to invest in? How do we want to behave? What resources are going to get us to the next generation and the generation after that? But I know that working with young people and working with our schools that our students and our children are extremely passionate. And the biggest thing that I want to say is thank you to our parents and our grandparents for instilling that relentless passion in us because you taught us to not give up on the idea that the world needs to be better than we left it. And so, one last plug, Earth Rebirth will be hosting the Wild and Scenic Film Festival on November 2nd at Sooner Theater. It's the largest environmental film festival in the country, and this is the second year we're bringing it to Norman, Oklahoma. So November 2nd, you can go to our website, earthrebirthnow.org, to buy tickets. They're cheaper online, there's group discounts and all that sort of stuff. But anything we raise at that festival is going to allow us to set up gardens at the school districts that have already moved to 4-day school weeks, like our neighbors in Noble. And so thank you guys. I just want to remind you, please dream big, but act bigger. Have a good afternoon.